The Imam was the true source of divine knowledge in the society. Many people refer to him with their questions about various aspects of the Islamic sciences. 149 names of narrators of the Imam's sayings are recorded in history. Due to the intense surveillance and pressure on the Imam, he could not always meet with his representatives and followers in person. Thus, Imam Askari became the first Shia Imam who primarily communicated with the Shias through letters. Whenever the Shias had a disagreement about any of their Islamic beliefs, they would send a letter to the Imam and ask for his guidance. Tens of letters from the Imam are recorded in history and are still available. These letters contain the Imam's guidance on the false theological beliefs of the time and his answers to the doubts about the Islamic principles, such as monotheism, tawhid, and the Islamic laws such as Hajj, fasting, and marriage. There are also multiple general letters from the Imam to his Shia followers. In one of these letters, the Imam recommended his Shias to maintain piety and gave them a list of ethical recommendations for their life and interactions with the other people in the society. In this letter, the Imam asked his Shia followers to be good members of the society and to treat others respectfully. The historical records show that the Imam was in continuous communication with his followers and representatives until his martyrdom. The Imam would respect and pay high regards to the Shia scholars for guiding the people to the true teachings of the Prophet and the Imams, for defending the Shia belief, and for their direct role in spreading Shiism. The Imam wanted to prepare the Shias for the upcoming time when they would have to refer to the Shia scholars for their Islamic affairs. Abdul Azim al-Hassani was a Shia scholar who was a descendant of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Imam Hadi had referred his Shia followers living close to Abdul Azim al-Hassani to ask him their questions. Once, a group of the Shias from Ray in Iran visited Imam Askari in Samara and told him that they were returning from visiting Imam Hussein alayhi salam's shrine in Karbala. To their surprise, the Imam told them, "If you had visited the tomb of Abdul Azim al-Hassani in Ray, it would be like visiting the tomb of Imam Hussein in Karbala." The Imam wanted to remind them of the high status of Abdul Azim al-Hassani for his righteousness and for his service to the Imams and the Shia community. Fazl ibn Shahzan was another great Shia scholar at the time of Imam Askari. He was an expert in various Islamic literature, such as Islamic laws and Ilm al-Kalam, which is the study of Islamic doctrine that involves defending the Islamic principles against doubters. He authored tens of books on various topics such as defending the Shia belief and falsifying the claims of various sects and theologies. The historical records show Fazl ibn Shahzan's high status before Imam Askari, as the Imam had once remembered him by saying, "The people of Khurasan are blessed and fortunate for having such a scholar amongst them." Once one of the Shias visited the Imam and showed him one of Fazl ibn Shahzan's books about the daily rituals and asked for the Imam's opinion. The Imam reviewed the book and verified its contents. The Imam then recommended that he and other Shias follow the contents of the book. The Imam also talked highly about Fazl ibn Shahzan and prayed for God's mercy on him because he knew that he had already passed away by that time. When the Imam's Shia returned to Khurasan, he realized that Fazl ibn Shahzan had died around the time when he had met the Imam. He then recognized the Imam's words as a sign of the Imam's knowledge of the unseen. The Imam was a true source of guidance for the Muslims and was concerned about the deviations in their belief. Ishaq Kendi, a famous Iraqi philosopher, was writing a book about what he had perceived as contradictions in the Quran. He was so committed that he spent most of his time in the house to finish this book. He was using the literal meaning of the Quranic verses and would misinterpret them to falsely prove contradictions between the verses. Once the Imam saw one of Kendi's students and expressed his concern about Kendi's action. The student responded about his own inability and lack of knowledge to confront his teacher. The Imam asked him if he was willing to follow his advice to guide Kendi, and he accepted. The Imam then instructed the student to become close to Kendi, and at an appropriate time, ask him if it is possible that the Quran's author might have meant to convey a different meaning than his interpretation. The student followed the Imam's instruction. When Kendi heard his student's advice, he was shocked and found it rationally correct. He then confessed that there could have been other meanings for the Quranic verses from what he had interpreted. He asked his student who he had learned his advice from. His student hesitated to answer, but due to Kendi's insistence, he confessed that Imam Askari had been guiding him. Kendi then confessed to the Imam's elevated status and ordered his incomplete book be burned.